September 3rd, the day we took back the video game industry. Oh my god, this has to be good. Oh man.
September the 3rd. Where were you on September the 3rd? Where were you when you first heard the news? Concord has fallen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have witnessed with our very own eyes the most important event in the video game industry in decades.
I don't know about decades, but I think in the last 5 years for sure. Like, Concord failing, I do think is like a massive big deal.
Today, September the 3rd, Sony has announced that its latest title, Concord, will be discontinued and servers will be shut down September the 6th.
Wow.
Mainstream media outlets defending Concord have destroyed their credibility and revealed a glaring
Hard
flaw
to destroy something that doesn't exist, but somehow they've managed to do it.
In the game industry. How can you trust a company who tells you the sky is not blue? We can no longer trust those major companies.
Yep.
The fall of Concord is not cause for celebration. We cannot afford to devolve into a culture that dances on the graves of those who tried and failed. But there is cause for celebration.
There sure is.
To all my fellow gamers out there who let your voices be heard in comment sections and forums, I am proud of you.
That's right.
I beseech you, revel not in the failure of others. The road to a better tomorrow cannot be traveled by tearing each other down, but by helping each other up when we stumble.
That's right. That's why we're playing Wukong, games like Core Keeper, games that are fun, that are enjoyable, abso-fucking-lutely. Yep.
Core Keeper is so much fun.
That's right. No, we do this.
To the content creators out there
who
made strong the voice of your people, your fellow gamers,
yes,
I am proud of you.
Thank you.
To those with true journalistic integrity who researched and brought to light the unacceptable, grotesque behavior of those who would masquerade as our game developers, I am proud of you.
Oh, man.
Sony has become a tyrant, a dragon of wealth at all costs. All the gamers out there who stood their ground and let their voices be heard, who united from all around the world, they became a powerful spear. All the content creators out there who brought to light the truth of the situation as it unfolded day to day, they became the blade of the spear that pierced the dragon's heart.
This is so ridiculous. I love it. This is so good. This is so good. And making gaming great again. Yeah, it's people like, the thing is that for the longest time, there's been this idea in gaming that the consumers aren't the ones who decide what video games are. No. What are you thinking? And like now, I think that a lot of the barriers to entry for like, you know, obviously distributing video games, developing games, tools like Unreal 5, I think is a great example. And just in general, like the overall competency of you know, like indie games to be able to like, you know, an indie game nowadays can rival a game that's of a AA or AAA quality. It can easily. And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, especially, that really wasn't possible. So now you're seeing this happen, and people don't have to pick the garbage. They don't have to play it. They can just choose to play something instead. Yeah, they have so many more tools. Exactly. Yeah, it's been democratized, which is the way it should have always been.
There is a philosophy that exists in the professional world, something I've learned working in industry, from watching, from listening to the world around me. People love nothing more than watching a tyrant fall. For years.
I think that's why people are happy. I think that's the same thing with Stellar Blade, too. People are really happy when Stellar Blade did well, because it goes to show that I think that even like a person with a passing knowledge, like not really, you know, any sort of like a hyper obsessed person, but just somebody who's paying attention, they could see that it's like, man, it sure seems like a lot of people have it out for this game, right? Like it seems kind of weird that like certain games just receive this like massive amount of like negative criticism for like these things that are not really about the game itself. I think that even like an average person can see that.
Talented, skilled, and deserving artists and developers have been discriminated against.
Yep.
Instead of game companies hiring people for their ability or qualifications, they hire based on the color of someone's skin, their sexual identity, and their political views. For years, the video game industry
has been awful. Like it's actually crazy that people that have been doing this have gaslighted themselves into thinking that they're the good guys. They're like, yeah, we're being racist, but we're doing it for the right reasons, so it's okay. Who thinks this? It's the definition of discrimination? Oh, they are. They've always done this. Yeah. That should be against the law. Well, the problem is like, so this is what happens with people. I'm assuming that there are just simply political opinions that if you express these opinions, you get reported to
You hate thieving, I hate Slayer.
HR, whereas other political opinions you don't. And so I think that's probably what happens. And it's like then people start to dislike you and then they push you out slowly. It's like a very type of like, not really soft, or it's a soft but overt level of censorship, I would assume is like what's happening. But like I haven't been in one of these companies, I'm just guessing, to be fair.
Bent further and further toward appeasing an extremist radicalized cult raised entirely in an isolated bubble of hyper-reality on the internet.
That's right.
The game industry has bent further and further.
That is, man, I want to go back. This is too good.
Radicalized cult raised entirely in an isolated bubble of hyper-reality on the internet. The game industry has bent further and further, being infested by people who do not care about making a good product, who do not understand what a good game is, and who do not care about what really matters.
No, they don't give a shit.
Diversity, inclusivity, equity. I've said it before and I will say it again. Those things matter. They're important. But the people who are pushing those concepts into the public space lack the maturity, self-awareness, and understanding of social responsibility to do it correctly.
Well, it's because they're morons. That's the reason why. Is like we never had diversity problems with video games back in the day. There was never problems with this. It's these are the people that had problems and came into the video games and brought their problems with them. See, this is the thing, right? Is like they act like we nail them up to the cross. No, you brought the
Yo, what's up, John? Yeah, we're doing good, man.
Cross in here. Everybody else, everything was going just fine. Everybody enjoyed games. Things were fine. You had different female characters. You had male characters. You had black characters, white characters. It was not really a factor. It's not really that's not the point of the game. And then these people who come in who are fucking weirdos, they're the ones that are having all these problems. They're the ones that have all these issues. That's what happens. And you know what the real problem is? That these people were the problems. It's these types of people. And it's exactly what he was saying. It's the maturity, the ability to like actually discuss things like a normal person. Like I guarantee you that like if you were around the kind of people that try to push this stuff in games, you would be so unhappy. Because they're probably obnoxious. They're so obnoxious. Was Samus a girl? I heard that Metroid was a girl too. Nobody cared. Good games were good games. Yeah, it's not logical thinking people. Yeah, exactly.
Radicalized extremists are so focused on their own egos, they do not realize the damage they have caused to our culture. Never before in the past decades has there been a greater...
I think that's a good point, is that I think they've set this back a lot, because like now anytime you see a character that's like not, of a default, the default white male character, people go crazy with like DEI shit. It's actually like very rare whenever it doesn't happen. But like, I actually think it's this, I actually don't think it's the skin color as much. I don't think the skin color really matters. I think it's actually like an attitude and a culture that is like usually attached to that. So like what I mean by this is that you look at the Space Marine 2 trailer, and I've used this like 5 different examples, right? So like you guys are probably fucking tired of
Why not demonic gorillas? Because I can't do demonics and watch YouTube videos.
hearing this. But like there's a white guy, an Asian guy, and a black guy, and they're talking about how they're going to beat back some sort of fucking, how they're going to beat the Tyranids or something. Nobody's talking about this being woke, right?
Wait, yawning? Yo, type more. I gotta talk. I'm falling asleep at Black Demons.
Nobody cares about this because it's about the games being like masculine and the games being authentic. And I think that what you get now is a bunch of millennials on 7 different antidepressants, 3 different self-diagnosed mental disorders that
Yeah, when I read chat, it wakes me up.
know more about Harry
Wow.
Potter than the real world. And they hate Harry Potter too because of J.K. Rowling. And it's the thing that they know the most about, fucking hate it, right? And they're the ones, and they have like this completely warped view on reality.
No, see, yeah, that's the messed up thing. It's like I could do gorillas and it wouldn't be as AFK and boring. But then I couldn't watch YouTube videos. There's a conundrum. I can't go in the wilderness. I'll die
Like
immediately.
it's like I'm trying to think of like a good way to look at it. It's like I think hyper reality is the way that he explained it, and I think that's probably pretty accurate. But they live in like this like weird distorted reality that other normal people don't live in and don't exist in. So like when they make games that reflect this like weird this like reality distortion thing they have, these games don't resonate with anybody else other than other weird people. It started with Gen Z. No, it didn't. It's millennials that did this. No, it's like people my age. 100% my fault. Absolutely my fault. Like people that I went to school with are the ones that are causing this to happen.
Hatred,
Yeah.
fear, and resentment towards minority groups, which they think.
No, I mean, like, if I go into the wilderness, I get very distracted. So I would just die. Like, if any PKer came across me, I'm dead. If I don't run into anybody, I'm fine. But if I run into someone, I'm dead.
They are empowering.
Yep.
Instead, they are framing marginalized groups as villains
Of course.
and painting targets on their backs. And this has happened because of the
I'll be like, oh, look at my cat. And then I'll look back and be dead.
incompetent implementation of supposed diversity in media. We cannot afford...
Well, it's because these people don't know what real diversity is. They don't understand what real diversity is.
I am real.
These are people probably that grew up in gated communities. They went to like a 95% white high school. Like, you know, they had like one black friend that every time that, you know, that the friend gets in the car, they turn on hip hop. Like they don't understand actual diversity, right? They don't understand how to like actually like interact with a minority, right? Or how to be around the minority. Like how to be around a minority. Like what the fuck are you even talking about? His name's this Jim. Just go fucking talk to him, you freak. It's so weird, man. No social skills. Yes, exactly. And like this is basically what's happened, is that we've had the social rules of the world be dictated by people that have no social skills. So everything is catered down to the lowest common denominator. So you can't have any authenticity, any genuine moments, any real investment, because everything needs to be counterbalanced with some degree of brevity because of the insecurity of the writers. It's so lame. Yeah, we have Khadgar in a wheelchair. Yeah, exactly. It's so fucking ironic that these people are more racist than people that would actually identify as racist. I think that it's an entire subculture that they live inside of, and they actually are, like, it's not even about, like, any sort of gender or race or anything like that. It's about this subculture and the values of this subculture, Like, once you view the subculture as a religion, like any sort of like a cult, I think a lot of it makes a lot more sense because a lot of the things that different cults do, they behave the same way. Real racists seem less racist to me. Well, these people are more racist, I think, in some cases because they're trying not to be, so they think that it's okay. Whereas real racist people at least try to talk around it, you know?
To go back to a time...
It's like the interview where the white people thought that black people didn't, like, well, how could you have... Well, black people, they don't know where the DMV is. They don't know how to use the internet.
What?
What? That was painful. What? They don't have data on their... They can't use phones. It's crazy. Who thinks that? Too many people... You know who thinks that? The people that are trying to get you fired for not thinking that.
Media.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to go back to a time
we got
when
it on
hatred
YouTube,
and fear was allowed to rule our hearts and minds. No more. To you radicalized extremists, receiving millions of dollars to produce products for stroking your own egos instead of serving the gamers, I say to you, no more.
That's right.
To you tyrants who fund this radicalized movement, who focus on pandering, instead of creating something of value, I say to you, no more.
I think the truth is, like, it's really funny because, like, they're going to keep making games like this. Here's what I think happened. I think that a lot of games like Concord, like, I would say, like, woke stuff was, like, way more popular in, like, 2018 to, like, 2022. Would you guys agree with that? Yeah, right? And so, like, you see a lot of games that were probably, like, it's dying. Yeah, I think it is dying out a lot. And, or at least, like, in some cases, right? People are fed up now. Yeah. And so I think that what happened is that these games were conceptualized around then, and, like, the culture kind of changed, and now people are less accepting of it. That's what I think kind of happened. There's been a definite backlash against wokish stuff. Yeah, I think for sure.
To you developers who would dare to call my fellow gamers, my people, talentless freaks,
I remember this.
I say to you, no more.
I say to you, so, you know what somebody needs to do? They need to send that person an application to DoorDash. Because they're looking for a new job right now. Like, what are they going to do? Maybe they can start streaming. The Aspen Watcher? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, send them an application for DoorDash. Do you think DEI in some form is needed? Usually no. Not really. I mean, I think that things like that happen naturally when you just have people that are able to interact with each other with, like, no real boundaries. Like, I don't know about you guys, but, like, any time that I was, like any, like, for example, like a WoW Guild meetup or something like that, I see in, like a BlizzCon, right? You go back, you look at, like, WoW Guild meetups at BlizzCons. Every single one of them is diverse. Every single one. So, like, and, like, how many of you guys, when you played Xbox Live, you were playing with people that were, like, just different races or from different countries? They're all like that. So if you just allow people to interact naturally, this will happen. And it will also not happen in some circumstances, right? It will. Like, there will be groups of people that are like, oh, we only want white people, like, we're racist. Like, yeah, sure, like, it's whatever, right? But, like, that's not really a norm.
Rejoice. Celebrate, my fellow gamers, for today you have made history. Today, we tear down a tyrant. Let this be a warning.
That's right.
To all the AAA development studios and publishers out there. The balance of power has shifted. There is no amount of money you can pour...
I think it's not even the balance's power have shifted. I think it's been realized. I think gamers now realize that if you collectively get together and enough people don't want something, they can actually change the course and the outcome of a game. Because this absolutely can happen. And I think it's been proven time and time again. It took long enough? Yeah, it did. The problem with talking about woke stuff as online is there's legit bigots, and it feels weird to share a side with them personally. It doesn't feel weird to me. Like, the leftists feel weird sharing a side with people that were, like, communists that would kill a bunch of people? No. Because everybody knows there's a big difference. Just because somebody likes socialism doesn't mean that they like democratic national socialism like in Nazi Germany. Of course not. Like, of course that's not the way that people think. That's silly. Everybody knows that. It's just, and this is the problem, right? Is like these people, like this is the dishonest type of reality that people live in. Like what he's saying. Like this isn't the way normal people think. It's just intellectual dishonesty. Yeah, that's not how it is. Nuance is wild. Well, people don't want nuance because if you add nuance, then they can, they lose power. Sometimes chat is quite bigoted. Of course it is. There's 30,000 people watching the channel. Do you really think that there's not, what do you think the odds are that there's going to be somebody who's racist in here? 100%. Absolutely. So what? Like, okay. Oh, wow.
To marketing, to hide the flaws of a product created by the wrong people with the wrong intentions.
Mm-hmm.
The balance of power has shifted in a way that you cannot control.
Thank God.
Your audience has a voice. They have power, and they are your equals. September the 3rd.
Well, they're not the equals. They're actually they're the ones that make the decision. It's the customer's always right. Like, you can say like the audience is sexist or whatever you want, but at the end of the day, you're still going to be looking for a new job when your product doesn't sell. Like, that's it. Like there's a definite like finality of it.
Remember this. Let it be heard. All across the world, today is the day we took back the video game industry.
I hope so.
20 developers or publishers out there who would dare to call my fellow gamers my people. Talentless freaks.
Yep.
Do this at your own peril.
Gamers
because
rise
I will
up.
not stand idly by and let you demean my people. Lastly,
this is so good.
To Sony, you have
so
earned some respect
I know.
by issuing full refunds to all the paying customers of Concord.
That's actually a really good point. Sony did pull a really big W there. They actually, like, as I said, they just totally pulled the plug and they gave everybody their money back. They didn't try to we're going to try to drag you along and everything like this. No, they just straight up pulled the plug and said, nope, we're going to give you your money back. Sorry about that. Yep, my bad. Oops. Because you think about it, right? That's huge.
This is the best course of action you could have taken. Were I to give you a review on your performance in this situation,
it's an A.
I would say 7 out of 10.
I'd say it's an A.
Good.
Good one. Good one. Yeah, real good one. Japan just fuck around with DEI stuff. Well, I mean, maybe I'm an extreme minority. I don't really care that Concord wasn't good. Another DEI game flopped. Oh, well. I think that it really matters a lot. This is it. Like, I loved how dramatic this was and how crazy. This was great. I do think it's unironically a gamer. It's a gamer's rise up shit. Because I think people and players are starting to realize that collectively, if they can get together, if enough people can get together, they can determine the direction of whether a game is successful or not. And I think you saw that with things like Helldivers in positive ways, same like with Pow World and also with Wukong. But you're also seeing it in negative ways, like with things like Dustborn or with Concord or with maybe a handful. The funny thing is I can't even remember the other names, right? Because they're so dead. So yeah, next is Ubisoft. I'll link you this guy's channel. this guy is great. I fucking love this. And I think a lot of people, again, have been, what's the word for it? They've been, like, shamed into thinking that their opinion isn't valid as a customer. And I think that now you've seen so much people speaking out against it that people don't feel like that they have that shame anymore. Because I think that a lot of people really underestimate the power of public pressure and the power of, like, public consensus pressure. And I think that's really what happens to a lot of people is, like, they get trapped in that and they don't want to go outside of that box because they're afraid they could get in trouble or something bad could happen to them or whatever, right? Why do you care about this? So sick of the gaslighting? Well, the thing is, like, at the end of the day, the reason why I care about it is that I think a bunch of weird, annoying, freakish people with no social skills and people that are fucking losers have taken over games, and they write games like losers. They write the games for losers. They're not interesting. They're fucking boring. The characters aren't charismatic. Everything about the stories are garbage. They're just unlikable people. They make unlikable characters. There's unlikable gameplay. There's nothing good about them. And so why do I care about it? It's like, well, if somebody came into your house and started shitting on your floor, and then you say, get out of the house, and you say, well, why? Why do you care about this? Well, because you came into my fucking house.
Everyone, this is your daily dose of internet. This person had some tests done at a hospital where doctors needed to put radioactive gas and liquid into their body. For the next 24 hours, this person needed to isolate themselves from other people because of the high radiation levels.
Of course, we've all heard of gravity, but do we really know what it is? Allow me to simply demonstrate the effects of gravity using just these two balls.
Kiki, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Silence.
This frog has a transparent body, and this time-lapse shows how its organs move. This is how bread is made in a traditional stone oven. There's a tribe in Ethiopia that walks everywhere on stilts. Don't worry, she wasn't hurt. I didn't know I needed one of these until right now.
Wait, I need one of these from my bedroom. What?
Until right now.
Wait,
Until
you
right
put a
now.
computer under that though. Never mind.
Did you guys ever... Sorry, my cat.
One of my subscribers found a guy that brought his
Someone needs to shoot that dog.
Bitcoin mining computer on the bus. That is the end of this video. We hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Later.
I don't know. The only thing I know for sure is Herobrine is real. I watched it. Minecraft is one of the most popular things on the planet. Kids grow up in that game. They end up more familiar with the Minecraft world than their own household. Like, the boogeyman doesn't exist anymore. Now it's Herobrine. Or maybe even that's outdated. I don't know. The only thing I know for sure is Herobrine is real. I watched it slit the throat of my grandfather to squeeze out the diamonds from his cold corpse. Point is, Minecraft is huge. So it was only a matter of time before a live-action movie was made to capitalize on the success of the property. And rejoice because that time is now. The Minecraft movie trailer just dropped, and the reception has been lukewarm at best. In fact, I'm being pretty generous by calling it lukewarm. There was about as much cheering for this as there was when I hit my last free throw in my high school basketball career. And it was really only my parents clapping because we got blown out in that final game. Ever since the film was announced as a live-action movie, people were quick to write it off, just saying things like, there's no way they'll be able to make that watchable, it'll probably just be garbage. And now that the teaser's dropped, that's confirmed a lot of people's suspicions that, yep, this is going to be turbo ass. Jack Black as Steve is the biggest one people are pointing the finger at here. So, Jack Black plays Steve. For those of you that don't know Minecraft, which is 0 people watching, I'll still just show you anyway. This is Steve. He's basically just playing Jack Black, but in a blue shirt. It looks like he rolled out of bed and they gave him this blue shirt and said, alright, now you're Steve. As if it's Captain America's shield or something. It's pretty low effort from the costume department here that people were making fun of. It'd be like if they made a live-action Simpsons movie and I was cast as Homer and this was my costume, because Homer also wears a white shirt. Like, fucking porn parodies put more work into the costuming. Like SpongeBob SquareNuts. They had a whole get-up for him that you could immediately identify as, oh, that's supposed to be SpongeBob. Here, if he didn't say, I am Steve, I would have had no fucking clue, personally. Just like I have no clue who Jason Momoa is supposed to be here, he looks like a character I would have made in Dress to Impress on Roblox, just combining random shit onto the character. He looks like someone in the Witness Protection Program who's going undercover to see a Creedence Clearwater Revival concert. But at the very least, that's fun. Like, Jason Momoa just being like a, you know, quirky, zany-looking character here in the trailer, like, that's interesting. Jack Black as Steve is just, man, you didn't even really try. Like, Jack Black is a huge draw. Most people really like Jack Black, and he's been in a lot of huge movies recently. If I could, I'd ask the Men in Black to neuralize the knowledge of Borderlands out of my fucking cranium, so that way I don't have to remember that Jack Black was in that atrocity. But he's been in some great films, and it looks like he's the go-to now for these studio execs to pick up for children's movies. And based off this teaser, this is very clearly aimed at kids. This is made for toddlers. I'm talking like actual milk-drinking, fucking snot-nosed, diaper-soiling children. This isn't like the Super Mario Bros. Movie where pretty much anyone of all ages can appreciate that film. This one really seems, at least based on this very first glimpse, that it is entirely made for kids that love Minecraft. Not anyone who loves Minecraft. The style of the film is just also kind of off-putting. Danny summed it up best by saying it looks like a Honda commercial. It also just kind of reminds me of something Clash of Clans would have posted on their YouTube channel as like a Facebook ad or something. The animation style is not revolting or anything, except for this stupid fucking thing. But the integration of live action into it just is not done super well in this teaser. It really looks kind of haphazardly thrown together. Like, the live action characters just don't blend with the animation as well as I would have thought it would. This movie would have been significantly better if it was just fully animated instead of trying to shoehorn and ham-fist in like Jack Black and Jason Momoa just for the sake of having big name star power draw to it. Like, they could have voiced in it. You know, like, I don't know why they didn't take a page out of the Super Mario Bros. Playbook, which was very positively received, absolutely crushed it in the box office, and for some reason Minecraft completely ignores that, comes out here and shits their whole ass with this teaser, which is not being positively received. If it was fully animated, I think it would have stood a far better chance. Ultimately, though, I don't think it's going to matter to the main demographic the movie's trying to appeal to, which is kids. They're not going to care. Kids will just endlessly let videos autoplay, rotting their goddamn brains, just watching like Finger Family or whatever else just happens to scroll through. Like, they're not going to be bothered by things like the live action and animation don't work together super well. But just because I'm not the target audience for this movie doesn't mean I can't insult it and point out its shortcomings. What are they gonna do? Have the Enderman come fuck me? This just isn't great.
Yes. New Slayer task? Yes.
Looking. And a lot of people aren't very happy with it, especially because apparently it's been 10 years in the making. Like, they started scripting this back in 2014 from what I read. What a weird use of 10 years. What it seems to me, and I could be totally wrong here, I got the tinfoil hat on for this, is they may have had like a bunch of different scripts over the course of the decade, and then they started seeing video game movies succeed, like Sonic, like Detective Pikachu, like Super Mario Bros. And then they just started to rush, like, okay, we need to capitalize on this ASAP. It's hot right now. We have to strike while the iron is hot. We gotta go. And then they push this out. At least that's the impression I get here. Who knows, though? Maybe this was the original vision from the start, all the way back in 2014. They said, we need Jablinski Games in here, playing Steve. Regardless, though, right now it's only one teaser, so maybe the next one comes out and it's great. It blows us all away. You know, maybe the movie comes out and it's extraordinary. But I doubt it. And many others are doubting it as well. That's about it. See ya.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I'm a friend of the show was recently You guys are probably aware that a big-time friend of the show was recently arrested on some insane charges, and I can't really bring myself to talk about it without getting emotional. Just kidding. Got him! Amy Slayton got arrested for some insane shit, and I've gotten 20 emails and 100 tweets about
No, not Amy.
this over the last 10 hours, 12 hours since it happened. And I mean, I appreciate you guys thinking of me when stuff happens, but it's like, I don't fucking care that much about Amy Slayton. Someone said, come get your girl. What? She ain't my girl. What the f? It's been too long since I've talked about the biggest friends of the channel, the 1,000-Pound Sisters. And, you know, every quarter, I think some kind of video comes out in regard to them just for fun and love and to share in the glory of that legacy and the mythology surrounding them. But today, we're only talking about one of the sisters, and it is not a positive situation. And we're talking about Amy and her boy toy, Brian Loveorn. All right. Boy toy moment. The writing on this new season of 1,000-Pound Sisters is better than anything I've ever seen on TLC before, guys. This is an incredible ride.
I'm on travel. Jesus.
Was that like a vegetable?
Disgusting.
I'm gonna be honest, this is crazy. This is a Twilight Zone episode. The story starts with Amy and Brian, along with Amy's kids, visiting a zoo in Tennessee called the Tennessee Safari Park back on September 2nd. That was yesterday. That happened yesterday. Unfortunately, someone was bitten by a dromedary, a camel. All right. And I'm with Christina, my girlfriend. She got ass like a dromedary. Okay, guys. Got ass like a camel. Just kidding. I said that the other day and I thought it'd be funny. Let's see. Camel ass. Hopefully it's not offensive. If it's offensive, oh yeah, she does not have an ass like a dromedary. Oh my God. What the f? That's rude. I didn't really think of it. Anyways. Amy and Brian, along with Amy's kids, were visiting a zoo in Tennessee called the Tennessee Safari Park yesterday, September 2nd. And unfortunately, someone was bitten by a camel. And their immediate response was to call the police. Why not just talk to a staff member of the zoo? Or, I have no idea. Only the big man upstairs, God himself, knows why you would call the police. A camel bit me. A camel bit me! Help! 911 now! How about shut the f up? How about that? How about you went to the zoo and you got bit by an animal at the zoo? Toughen up. You'll be all right, okay? Also, hopefully you're not doing any illegal drugs or endangering your children. So, because that could be bad. Also, to be clear, I'm not sure if Amy and Steve or whatever the f his name was, I don't know if they called the police. It could have been the staff that called the police on them. I'm not exactly sure. But the Crockett County Sheriff's Department showed up and immediately noted a suspicious odor coming from the guest's vehicle. And on the spot, Amy and Brian were both arrested and charged with possession of Schedule 1 and Schedule 4 drugs. And on top of that, child endangerment, because when you have drugs on you and you take your family to the zoo, that's not good. This is the official post from the Crockett County Sheriff's Department Facebook, which one of the things I miss about living in a small town in Virginia or Appalachia, I don't know what it is about small town gossip, small town police stations, small town sheriff's departments. They love Facebook and they talk about everything. And there's always funny shit that happens and they talk about it and it's incredible. From feeding a camel to the slammer, Alamo, Tennessee, September 2nd, 2024. It was no ordinary Labor Day in Crockett County. Deputies were requested to respond to a safari park where a guest had allegedly been bitten by a camel. Upon arrival, deputies were immediately overtaken by suspicious odors coming from the guest's vehicle. What? How could it be that stinky? Amy Slayton Halterman, 1,000-pound sisters reality TV show star, was arrested on illegal possession of Schedule 1 and illegal possession of Schedule 4. 5. Narcotics, and 2 counts of child endangerment. Brian Scott Lavorn was in the vehicle as well and is facing the same charges. Both subjects have been booked into the Crockett County Jail. The charges and allegations referenced in the release are merely accusations of criminal conduct and not evidence. The defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt and convicted of the presence of the law. Of course, yeah. Look at the mugshot, dude. Look at the mugshot. Amy Slayton has been now arrested for endangering her child and with LSD. I heard that she was on LSD. I heard that. That's probably not even remotely true. I don't know what the actual truth is, but I've heard all sorts of shit, that it was heroin. The camel was a fent dealer, and then that she went in there and then she didn't pay up, and the camel, dromedary, bitter, dude. Got an ass like a dromedary. Bitch built like a camel. Look at this though. This is awesome. I love the mugshot and the cool fancy lettering. She's tall. And then who the fuck's this old man here? He looks like the type of guy who loves getting arrested for possession of illegal drugs and endangering children. I don't fucking know. Unfortunately, we don't know who the camel bit, and the police are not releasing that information without a FOIA, a Freedom
So it's Amy.
Freedom of Information Act request. I don't know if that's actually true. I just made that up. But people.com came to the rescue and wrote a short article on the arrest, guys. Pretty amazing. It shows a small, I don't know. In December of 2023, Slayton spoke to people about prioritizing her mental health and parenting her 2 sons following her divorce, and also prioritizing illegal drugs, it seems like, as well. That seems like the big priority for him.
Are you on drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Do you take drugs or alcohol?
What is drugs?
My assumption is that this is not going to bode well for Amy. Her and her husband split back in 2023, and Michael refuses to watch more than one of his sons at a time. They're terrible parents. Both of these people fucking suck. I was of the, opinion that they were awesome and it's cool to see them. I like to see the underdog. I like to see these people succeed. Go open a double wide. You don't have as many points. Put in your stats. And then you make it out and you get a TLC show. Yes! I want to see those kids get raised by good parents. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. That is incredibly unfortunate and sucks. And this is a very sad situation because her and Michael have a restraining order where they can't be within 500 feet of each other. And Amy did eventually press her domestic violence charges against Michael, but then she later dropped them. So both of these people now, it's very clear, have a lot of issues, and the other new guy, the boy toy or whatever, he clearly has some fucking issues as well, and Amy has diagnosed bipolar disorder, so there's a chance that maybe her charges could be reduced so she doesn't need to spend time in jail. I'm not exactly sure. Or maybe the TLC fucking execs are foaming at the mouth to start the next season of 1,000-Pound Sisters from a visitor call. Hello, Amy. This is the producer from 1,000-Pound Sisters. And then there's a spider crawling up the wall, or a cockroach behind her. Do you remember that? That is such a disrespectful episode of 1,000-Pound Sisters where she's crying. She's being honest and emotional about the state of her room and house and how messy it is and how she's trying to get out of that and stuff. And then they edited in a fucking cockroach behind her. Unbelievable amounts of disrespect. Anyways, yeah, there are a lot of losers in this situation. You got Amy, you got Michael, her ex-husband, you got the camel. I mean, maybe, I don't know, the camel, I don't mean to throw shade at the camel. The camel was probably pretty chill. The real losers, though, are the kids in this situation. Not that they are bad people or, the loser in terms of their character, but this is terrible. Having a famous parent, for one, must suck, especially for the reasons that that parent is famous, and now the parent potentially going to jail for drug possession and child endangerment. I don't know, dude. That's fucking crazy. And your low-life dad doesn't want to watch more. That's insane. I cannot believe that this is reality. It's fucking sad and it's also tragic, but It's very, very, very entertaining, and Dromedary is the reason that all of this came to fruition, which is a massive, massive W, King. Massive W.
All right, I'm gonna take a little nap. I can't keep my eyes open, and I can't stop yawning. It's not going well. All right, and then I'll be back on at like, I'll probably be on at like 2 a.m. to be honest. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we'll see you later. And you're all amazing, and hope you have a good night or morning or whatever day it is and stuff. All right, peace.